that you're about to watch is just a compilation of video clips that I made while I was walking the Voie Du Puy from Conques to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, mostly in the month of March of 2010. I started, I think, a couple of days before the end of February with my friend Prue. Anyway, don't expect any great cinematography here. Sometimes the sound isn't the very best due to wind and whatever. All of these clips were taken with a thing called a flip camcorder. It's just a tiny little camcorder that'll fit in your shirt pocket. It does take HD video and it'll store 1 hour's worth of clips. So when I came back home I had an hour's worth. And what I have edited out here is basically clips that I took while I was walking, like I say, from Conques to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to walk the first part of the Voie du Puy from Puy to Conques, which is on the Labrac, the high plateau. Most unusual winter in Europe this past year. I was there for February in southern France where we had ice in the fountains in the mornings. Anyway, on the Labrac there was lots of snow and ice, and when we phoned to see whether it would be possible to start from the Puy, they said no, absolutely not. It was very dangerous. I hoped that I would be able to go back to Le Puy after I arrived at Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, but as you'll see in one of the last little comments on this video, I made a phone call with my mobile phone as I was arriving in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and I was told by the tourist office in Le Puy that it just wasn't safe. There was still too much snow and ice on the ground for it to be safe. I said, so nobody is walking it, and the lady that I spoke to must have recognized my age from my voice, because she said, a few young people are walking it. I thought, well, that's enough. I don't need to risk falling with a backpack in the mountains on the ice and snow. So unfortunately I didn't get to walk that section. Also, the first 3 days of my walk, there aren't any video clips, unfortunately, of Conques, which is a beautiful place, and the surrounding countryside. I left my camera, both my digital camera and my flip camcorder and my passport and everything else in what I call my man purse, shoulder bag thing, on the train in Saint Christophe. And I was 2 days getting it back. Kudos to the French rail system. They treated me wonderfully. They even moved it from station to station as I was walking along until finally I was able to retrieve it. So the first 2 days of walking, there aren't any clips at all, and other than that, I think you get a pretty good idea from this what it was like to walk. Even the day before the last day of my walk, which was the 31st of March, was a rainy day, and I document that entire day on here, so I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. The last part of the trail today, we're almost into Figeac. That's Prue up ahead of me, disappearing down the trail. I don't know how well this is showing on the tape, but this is March the 8th at Calder, early morning, and we have light snow. Two days ago we had snow, and it's still very cold, but we've come across a place where the almonds are in bloom. Usually about the first thing that blooms over here. They were in bloom in Spain before I left home in January. Walking by this lovely chateau, not too far from Conques. I'm not sure what's taking place. There's several very lovely thoroughbred horses in the paddocks. And that large white barn is a temporary structure. It's got canvas walls and a large canvas roof. I don't know if they've either just recently had some kind of an exposition or they're expecting to have one. But definitely these horses are elegant, worth lots of money. Not very many of them here right now, so maybe the event hasn't occurred yet.
Can't find a much more pastoral scene than this. Standing in the main square of the medieval village of Lilayi. We spent the night here last night. It's a hilltop village. I don't know how old it is, but the current name dates back to the year 1000. Before that, it says it was a Gallic village. It existed before the nation of France. Not sure how well this will show up on the video, but I'm having a good view of the snow-covered Pyrenees this morning. Hard to believe it's still over 100 kilometers to walk before I reach there. They look like they're just across this field. I did some calculations this morning. I should arrive in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port at the foot of the Pyrenees on April the 1st. So if there isn't any snow left up in the Low Brac, I should be able to go up to the Puy and have time to walk from the Puy to Conques before I go to Paris on April the 12th. Beautiful day today. Just stopping for a little rest at this 11th century church, the Église de Saint-Sac. Inside the Église de Saint-Sac, very simple little church. Just another quick shot of the Pyrenees. I can't seem to stop taking pictures of them. Again, I have no idea how close this is going to be, what it's going to look like on video, but lots of snow up there. It's a Palm Sunday morning on the route between Maslac and Abbaye de Sauvelade. Gorgeous morning. And of course, this is the day that time changed. So with sun time anyway, I'm on the chemin an hour early. Bonjour.
Bonjour monsieur.
Entre le ventre, Patrick.
C'est bon.
Passe à la télé.
Fais un sourire, bon. Là, fais un sourire. Là. Là. Hop. Et. Christophe. Il est mignon. Il va tomber. Là. Sourire. Oui. Allez, hop.
It's March 29th. A lot of the walk this morning has been through the forest. It's the national forest. It's been beautiful. I've really been enjoying it. A lot of wildflowers and birds and animals. Finding a lot of trees the last few days that are marked like this with Very clear numbers on them. Must have something to do with forest management, I guess. And over here next to my lunch bag, I think it's a type of Helioborus. I'm really not 100% sure. The blossom is a bit different than some Helioborus, but it has clearly got two different kinds of leaves, which is a bit of a giveaway. Anyway, it's a very beautiful day. I've just moved on a few feet from where I took the last video clip, coming across another large patch of wildflowers. I'm not sure what these are. They have a lovely fragrance, and I've only seen white ones until today, and alongside of the white ones today we have sort of a mauve color. If that's showing up on the video or not. Trying not to fall in, but next to this little stream is a large patch of my favorite primroses, Primulaveris, the ones that the English call cowslips. I even managed to have a few of these growing in my garden in Campobello. A little better close-up of the ones on this shore, maybe. They're in bloom everywhere in the forest here now. Hopefully I'm not disturbing the hunter by speaking, but I've been seeing these blinds high up in trees, and I couldn't decide what kind of an animal they're useful for hunting purposes. But this says Palombrier in 80 meters, and please be silent. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're talking about doves. I had a conversation with someone the other day about doves, and they use basically the same word that the Spanish use, paloma. Paloma blanca, the white dove, somebody's song famous from a few years back. Anyway, the next video clip will show the structure up the tree. This is the hunting blind that I'm talking about, and I've walked by many of them, very far up in the top of tall trees. Next door to this one is a series of very elaborate traps. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I suspect there's some way that you use all of that to capture doves or pigeons or whatever. People who own this Pâté de Foie Gras factory have very kindly put up a shelter of picnic tables for pilgrims to have their lunch, and that's me already installed at the picnic table. Inside there's a nice sign that explains what they do here. Freeze frame and read that if you read French. Over here is a little better explanation, I guess, with photographs. They serve sel pâté, confit, that's a duck preserve, which I guess is good. Vegetarian, I wouldn't know. Plate cuisine, coffre gourmet, that's a box all done up with gourmet items. And of course, what the area is famous for, foie gras. I've done a round inside the foie gras factory. The canning process is all I'm getting to see. The man there is working